Times, nothing that you read in the New York Times isn't slanted by bias that's liberal and an anti-Trump narrative, got it wrong fundamentally. They misreported that the Russians prefer Trump. That's not what the intelligence said. But they borrowed it almost word for word directly from the intelligence community assessment report on the 2016 election. I recited in my book. I reread it today. It's almost word for word the same thing. Look, Americans are smart. Maybe a few of them bought into the Russia hoax until it was debunked by the Mueller report. They're not going to buy into the Russia hoax Volume 2.
Alan, question for you. I mean, this is just police state type nonsense here, is it not? I mean, these intelligence community leaks, and I never thought these words would leave my mouth here, but I actually feel bad for the Sanders campaign here. I mean, this is unbelievable. He takes a briefing that leaks magically immediately to the Washington Post, and the same thing that happened to Trump. I mean, this is incredible. This is supposed to be our intelligence community here, and it seems what they're doing is everything but intelligence. Not all, but someone at the top doing this with political motives somewhere is doing a lot of damage out there.
Well, look, I believe, and I've believed since I was a college student, that Russians have always, the Soviet Union and now Russia, tries to sow discontent in the United States, tries to divide people. I don't think they care who wins the election. They love what happened in Iowa. They're looking forward to maybe a problem in Nevada. They loved what happened in 2000 when we had to go to the Supreme Court to resolve the election. Anything that sows discord among Americans is good for the Russians. But the idea that an American president is a Russian agent, or that the Russians really have a preference for who gets elected president, and that preference is actually reflected in the result, really does sound more like science fiction or perhaps CNN reporting. I have to tell you about CNN. CNN actually doctored a recording of my answer to a question in the United States Senate. They doctored a recording. They left out the critical statement before. They left out the critical statement after. They doctored it. So much for CNN. And you see, you just can't trust anything that's on that station. And then they had people saying, oh, Dershowitz thinks you can shoot your opponent if you're the president. Just putting forth some of the worst lies about me and other people. So forget about CNN when it comes to truth.
Well, journalism unfortunately died a long time ago over there. Sarah, your work on the whole Spygate probe, along with Greg, has been incredible. But I do believe, as we were talking about before, earlier in the earlier segment with Kim Strassel, they're really in a panic over what Durham is clearly starting to uncover here. And I believe, for the purposes of this segment, the two key takeaways, there's a lot of them, but the two key takeaways are this case was always the dossier. The Papadopoulos story is a complete look-squirrel moment. They opened up a case and spied on a presidential candidate because of a fake, paid-for political document, and they invented a cover story. And I want to just hit two key dates with you. July 5th, they said they didn't open the case till July 31st, but on July 5th, they're meeting with Steele, the FBI, in London, and conveniently, right before they open up the case, Christopher Steele's meeting with Nellie Orr and Bruce Orr from Fusion GPS and the Justice Department. This is not a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence, and this is what Durham is investigating. And you know as well as I do, Dan, that they're looking even further back into 2015. And I want to make one quick point, and they're looking at the money. That's what they're going to do. They're going to follow the money. They're going to follow the intelligence. They're going to go wherever that takes them. But a quick point, and I agree with Alan Dershowitz on this. Russia wants to sow chaos, right? And think about this. They don't even need to worry about the Kremlin, the GRU, or their agents. They have their agents right here in the United States that are buying their chaos hook, line, and sinker. They just put something out there, and then we see the Democrats, we see the anti-Trump media, and everybody just on board, dishing out disinformation coming straight from Russia. That includes Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, Eric Holder, and everybody else in the media, Chris O'Donnell, that wants to dish out Russian disinformation. So if there's anybody on Russia's, payroll, so to speak, it's them. It's not anybody around Donald Trump.
But Sarah, and the real shame of this is we had at one point a nonpartisan IC, intelligence community, that could referee all this stuff. And now, again, not all, but sadly, due to people like Brennan, Comey, Clapper, and people at the top, reputations for these communities, the intelligence community, has been so tarnished, nobody knows what to believe anymore.
That's right, and that's the tragedy here, because
That's
the American
problem with
people
America.
deserve better.
Nobody knows what to believe. That's the problem.
Right.
And you know what was
I agree.
especially
Look, it's so difficult today
insidious
to figure out what the truth is
about the intelligence community is, according to Admiral Mike Rogers, who was NSA director.
That's right.
He eventually spilled the beans that they used the dossier as part of the intelligence community assessment.
Yeah.
And it would turn out to be fabricated and phony. And the FBI learned about it the very month Trump is inaugurated, and they concealed it from the American people.
And renewed 2 more FISAs after,
right.
by the way. Alan, Greg,
right.
Sarah, thank you.